Hey all, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Can you confirm that I am audible and clear and you are able to see my laptop screen? Thank you, Kalpana. Thanks for responding. So, in front of you, right, you are able to see a simple presentation, right? So, what is our objective is to learn Power BI and PostgreSQL, right? These are the kind of a two tools. One is the database and another one is the visualization tool. Power BI is the visualization tool and the PostgreSQL is a database. So we are focusing on these two things, and we are also going to learn the fundamentals of data warehousing, right? And our objective is to land into a job that is related to the Power BI tool and by gaining a certification on Microsoft Power BI Data Analyst. PL300, right? Now, if I just start this slide. So what are the things we are going to cover is data warehousing, PostgreSQL, and Power BI. Now, if you see in our colleges, right, we would be having the major subject and minor subject. I just giving in a comparative thing of it. So in our course, data warehousing and PostgreSQL are the minor subjects and they are going to be the foundational things. And Power BI is our main tool, right? And why Hari is have included these things, I'm going to give a small example because when I had a discussion with Lakshmi, right, when we are structuring this course, what Lakshmi told me is, hey Hari, whoever the student those are coming for our course are they are like non-IT background or freshers or someone from the or I mean not from US but other regions. So we need to make sure that there would be starting, I mean we would be starting from the basics, right? And make sure all the foundational things are covered and they are learned, prepared to a mark that they are able to apply for the jobs and attend for the interviews, right? That is the reason these are the three topics that are included. Our main objective is to crack the certification in Power BI and land into the job, and to do this we are learning PostgreSQL and data warehouse. Okay, so I'm going to show you a very simple diagram, a data to insights journey. Now, if you remember just before when we have a discussion with all of you, right? Someone said that they are working on the incident problem management. Someone said that they are working in the HR, right? And you are working. And we also discussed, right? Some organizations would be having technology implemented to manage their business operations, right? Say we have a shop, daily day-to-day sales are happening, and to make sure that we are meeting the business requirements or the customer flow, we automate the process or we digitalize the process. Now, when you digitalize the process, right, our sales and everything, a lot of generic data is going to be generated on day-to-day basis. If you consider a shopping mall, right, or a like Walmart or whatever it may be, a lot of data related to the transactions, related to the customer interactions, right? Suppose if Walmart is dealing with the vendors, I mean, who suppliers, or we call them as suppliers, right? Who supplies the product. So all these events would be captured. Walmart has ordered some X number of products from a supplier. That information need to be captured, right? Today, 100K dollars of sales has happened, right? So those information is captured, and day to day this lot of information would be captured, and we term it as a simply data factory, right? So over a period of time there is a huge humongous amount of data is being captured in these systems, and we call them as operational systems. So the systems which supports our day-to-day operations, we call it as operational systems. I'm going to go in detail when we are covering the first class. Now, when these data sitting in these systems as in the form of tables, files, and everything, right? They would be like a kind of a, we are not going to utilize them, and how we can make best use of it by converting this data to insights, right? Let me show you a practical example from the Power BI of the same thing, one of the previous class. Let it open. So I'm opening our previous. Say in these systems, right, in the data factory where we have data stored in the form of databases, tables, or Hadoop file systems, all those things. Data stored, it is just opening in simple plain text, numbers, or images, right? Now, when I show you how it looks in the table form, I'm just quickly taking you to the table form, okay? So that if you see here, this is our sales data, chocolate sales data, and this is our car sales data, right? And how can we interrelate or understand this one? Okay, what happened over a period of time, right? When we visualize that in the Power BI. Suppose if you see the sales, see here. Similarly, for chocolate sales, what is your sales, total sales, what is your customers, and in which country how much sales are happening, right? So one thing is, if you remember, there is a good statement from Einstein that one picture is worth of 1,000 words. Same thing. We have huge amount of data is there in the form of tables, pictures, images, all those things. And when we are able to present them, right, in a form of visualizations, then it is going to give the right level of insights to the top management, and they can take decisions accordingly to make sure business running smoothly, at the same time to improve the business also, right? As a data analyst or Power BI data analyst, what we are going to do is we are going to give meaningful insights to our business users. Boss, this is how your business is running. This is your total sales, right? Month on month, year on year, this is your sales. Accordingly, management, top management who has a good understanding about the business, right, they will take the right decisions. But for them to take the decisions, these inputs or these insights are very important, and we as a Power BI analyst are going to bridge that gap, right? So for that one, what we need to have a strong knowledge on the Power BI, a good understanding about the business, right, and the communication skills. These are the things we should be developing, right? So I hope we got a clear understanding about what is our role as a business analyst, or sorry, my bad, as a Power BI data analyst. Okay, these business data, they are very close. Sometimes even I mistakenly put one on the other way, right? Now, in this end-to-end journey, is it Power BI is the only tool that is helping to do this job? No, not really. Let me show you another thing. So if you see here, in the entire journey, we have that like simple, it's a high level breakup of 4 stages are there. Operational data, right? These systems are going to manage our operational systems. Say if the business is happening. So if you go to a store and pick up some items, and if you go to the billing counter, right, they will generate the billing, right? They capture all the items, their costs, and they will give us a bill and we do the payment. All these activities are captured in the operational systems. And like data serves, database, event page, these are all going to the tools. Those are going to help. And followed by, we have a Azure factory layer or data injection or ETL, extract transformation load, right? what we are going to do is analytical thinking or analytical process also need huge amount of processing time. Now at one level, what happen is in a single systems, if I am doing both operational or analytical, right, the system performance has degraded and very badly performing. That is the reason a copy of the data from the operational systems are taken and they have kept into the analytical systems, right? And we call these as a data warehousings, right? We are going to see in our first class. So a copy I have taken and I have kept in the Azure Data Factory by using Azure Synopsys, anything, Teradata, Oracle, lot of things, right? And the same, I'm going to use analytical data storage processing. So data lake, Azure, data warehousing, all these things are there. And finally, we are going to leverage these analytical systems, right, for the data modeling and visualization. So we as a Power BI developer are sitting at the right side of the journey, right? And we are going to utilize the features of the analytical systems, right? Or the benefits of analytical system, and we are going to visualize that one, right? And why we need to learn the SQL databases, because within the organization, right? When you join in an organization, what they say is that, hey, Kalpana, right? Our business is looking the sales trend. They want to know how the sales are progressing across the regions. Now, our sales data is sitting in XYZ data warehousing. Please go to that one and start working on it, right? And there would be a detailed documentation is provided about what are the database details, what kind of information is there. So it is very important that we as a Power BI data analyst has a good understanding about these systems so that we can independently work and deliver our job fast. All right. Some courses or some particular organizations or the institutions, right, they will directly jump into the Power BI and they will say, hey, connect to the systems, pull the data, and you can work on everything here. But what I feel is that we need to have some decent level of understanding about what is happening with your data or how your data is being transformed before it reaches to the Power BI, right? On that lines, we are going to learn about the data warehousing concepts, PostgreSQL, and finally, we are focusing majorly 2 weeks on the Power BI itself, right? So what I feel is that we should be very strong in one tool, right? And we should be master in it, and we should be knowing how other tools works and make sure take the help of other team members to get our job done as simple as possible. So this is what we call as a scrum teams, right? Where different expertise come closer together and work and deliver the business value or business outcome, right? Any questions or queries till now? Okay. Now, if you see, there are different areas are there. Data engineering, data factory, data science, data warehousing. See, all these are there. Each is having their own specific purpose, right? Many of the students think that, okay, boss, I need to learn end to end because everyone is asking demanding. But what I feel is that learn couple of things, like here we are going to be expert in Power BI. At the same time, we are going to understand how the databases works, right? Create operational SQL databases and data warehousing, right? Once we land into the job, definitely we can explore other areas also, whether it can be data science, industry solutions, right? And what honest answer I give is whichever you want to pick is it's your choice, right? Some are good in data factory. So let us start learning with the data factory, Azure Data Factory. right? And be expert in that one, and then further explore other areas, as simple as it is. Okay, if some are good in data science, algorithms, all those things, then you can go that one, right? In terms of our course, as I told you, right, we are going to cover data warehousing, right? This is concepts, right? These are like in Newton laws, right? In physics, right, we have lot of technology advancements are there, rocket science, space, right? Everything happened, but still we learn Newton's three laws and we apply them also similarly, whether it's a data science, data factory, data engineering, everything comes the basic concept. Yes, our operational systems are generating millions of data, and how we are going to get the value from it, right? That is where we discuss in the data warehousing, and we are going to see key concepts from Ralph Kimball and all these things, right? At the same time, let me show you how the course is structured, right? We are having 3 weeks of classes, right? On the weekdays, Monday to Friday, and for UK, Germany, Australia, it would be Tuesday to Saturday. I would request you to please remember this one. For Europe and Asia, it would be Tuesday to Saturday. And for America, it is Monday to Friday, right? And we are going to have the week classes and it would be 1 hour. And if you see, the first week, we are going to focus on the data warehousing and majorly on the PostgreSQL. And what is our objective is to learn more about SQL, structured query language. Why SQL is because like how English is a universal language, right? When you know English, right, we can manage by in majority of the countries, correct? Even if you go to the China, if you know English, we can manage. Similarly, when you learn SQL, okay, my main objective of picking database is that we should be having good hands-on with the SQL. And the reason for taking PostgreSQL is it is an open source because we can, I mean, I can take a tool from the Microsoft itself and learn the SQL. But what my intention is, since we are learning Power BI from the Microsoft tool, so let us pick one open source tool. When we say open source, it is free of cost. We don't need to pay anything. And we can use the full features of that particular database, right? So that is the reason I have picked up PostgreSQL. In this, we are going to learn installation, creating the databases, right? We call it as a data definition languages, updating the data, and further more about the queries. That is what we cover. Coming to the second week, right? We would be focusing on mainly on the Power BI, right? Right? Power Query, Power Pivot, and analyzing. So we are having a separate classes for the DAX, right? Quality of the data and architecture. And subsequently, right, we are going to touch base almost all the visualization. So if you see here, these are the different visuals are there. So in the Microsoft Power BI, we are going to touch base majority of these visuals and we are going to present them, right, as a form of, suppose if you want to know analysis of this particular salesperson, we can see. And at the same time, we are also going to learn about the AI visuals, right? When we say AI visuals, artificial intelligence visuals, many of us says, hey, is artificial intelligence is going to, uh, I mean, what, I'm forgetting, risk our jobs, right? So what I strongly believe is if we are master in the AI tools, then we are going to be paid more, right? We can learn basics in the Power BI, but what I want is that my students are going to learn Power BI not till basics. They are going to learn advanced. They are going to master in AI tools. right? So that their work would be faster, right? And they've become a demanding person in the market, right? That is as simple as it is. And when it comes to the course, right, every class would be recorded and it is uploaded in the YouTube. All the registered students will get the access to the YouTube link. The benefit of here is that I mean, you can watch the YouTube, right, wherever you are there. When you are traveling or when you have leisure time, you can quickly watch them and start practicing it, right? And I'm also going to generate Copilot, I mean, AI generated MYM, so that you can go through what happened in the today's class, right? And also you can join the subsequent batches. Suppose if you feel that, hey, Hari, if I missed a particular class or couple of classes due to whatever the reasons, yes, you can join the next class, sorry, yes, with no additional costs. And our main intention is that we need to make sure, yes, each of our students are cracking the certification and at the same time they are landing into the job. Okay. And as I told you, right, we are going to target the PL 300 certification. What is this one? Power BI Data Analyst Associate, right? In this, it is the intermediate level, right? When we say that we want to land into the job, definitely the market expects that we are having a decent knowledge and we can manage at least a work related to a 3 years experience or 2 years, 2 to 3 years experience, right? That is the reason that we need to complete the intermediate level, right? And this is a data analyst role and data analysis. And there will be a lot of practice papers also there. And I am going to support you on this one, right? To help you to practice these papers and in case of any doubts. And the charges for this one is 165. That is purely paid to the Microsoft. Okay. And we can do later on this one when we are nearing to end of our course. Right? Any questions till now? How we are going to cover our course, right? What are the important topics we are going to cover? All these things we are going to see. I mean, we are going to see from the fundamentals how to create these visualizations. At the same time, when we are coming at the end of the class, we are going to learn how we can use the artificial intelligence features to present this. Okay. Any questions or queries before I go how the market is there? What about Power BI developer wise analyst? Uh, Asgar, both are like, as I told you, right? Both are like interchangeable, right? When you are building these reports, then you become a developer. And suppose if you are actively using these reports to analyze the data, okay? I would say both are like a close things. Just it's a naming the thing. Okay. Now, yeah, more very closely, tightly coupled things. Okay. So when you say developer, he would be creating those things, and analyst tools also creates those reports and everything for sure. Okay, so let me see Power BI jobs in USA. If I open the LinkedIn, so this normally I prefer because nowadays majority of openings are through the LinkedIn. I think I need to sign in now. Uh, continue with Google 418. I think recently I sound out with many. What can we do? Let me check if I can just check without signing in for now. Yeah. See, CGS Federal Contact Government Services, right? Right. What is the pay range? 104K per year to 142 per K. So it depends upon the experience and the expertise that which we are putting over to the course, right? And if you see further, uh, is it every all the jobs are related to CGI? See, see almost. Is it because I need to sign in? Power BI jobs. Power BI developer. How come everything is from one company? Cloud Force. See, 90,000 to 1 lakh 130K, right? And LinkedIn is better in app. It is showing at an high level. I think I am supposed to. Now let me open this one. Washington DC, Baltimore area. Show more. See, yeah. See, Power BI developer, and the pay range is $58 to $67 per hour, right? Flexible 6 months contract, like build and maintain Power BI dashboard, 25 plus dashboards planned to support financial, automated Excel flows, partnering with Fire, delivering 200 to 300 automatic. What is job requirement? Power BI dashboards, reports, development. Altrex, possibly additional they're asking. Excel, macros, Power Queries, Snowflake, strong, financial, see, all these things. Power BI developer, Simness, what is their requirement? So if you can see 12 months contract, role of Power BI, extremely technical Power BI, Python and some Tableau, financial assist, Azure Cloud. So I guess equal opportunities. So in the job market, there is a good amount of jobs are there. Proven experience as Power BI developer and data analyst with strong background and research. Professions in Power BI including DAX, Power Query and data modeling. Solid experience with SQL and data manipulations. Strong analytical. So whenever we are applying for business, so two things comes by default, like they will have strong analytical skills and strong communication skills. They would be the basic things for the Power BI developers or analyst, right? Extensive experience in paginated reporting, report building, excellent knowledge in the Power BI, should be able to handle data and data sets, right? Good, very good in SQL experience, 6 years, like this. So if you see, there are good number of jobs are there. Job market is very good, right? And Power BI being a Microsoft tool, learning it is also a good, I mean, easier way. It's all about we need a consistent practice. Even if I check entry level and associate, we are having good number of jobs, right? 305 jobs as of now. Okay. So it's all about like how consistently we are doing the practice, because many think that okay, Power BI is looking straightforward and easy, so let me take a weekend and complete everything. This kind of approach is not really going to work. Only thing works is a consistent approach. Today our class has happened, okay, let us revise what has done in the class and start practicing it. Okay, it's like a step-by-step process, honestly, right? So let me do one thing. Let us take a small break. Stop sharing. Just 1 second. I'm just opening couple of reference materials. Hey all, uh, I'm sure recording is started. Can you confirm if you are able to see my screen and I am audible and clear? Thank you very much. Right. So as a part of our first class, right, we are focusing on the data warehousing concepts, right? Why it is important? Because these are like fundamentals or the foundations, right? Whatever the tools or technologies, whether it's a Python, Tableau, or like ETL tools, Informatica, Ab initio, or the databases, we have a number of. If you go on, there is a big list is there. But all of these motto is one thing. There is a millions of data is being generated, right? In each and every organizations. Right? Again, it depends upon the size of the organizations. So how we are going to maintain, manage it, and get the meaningful insights from it. Right? That is the main purpose of it. Now, in the 19th century, I think in 1980s or 90s, right, this data warehousing concept has came. Right? Now, what it is, I will just get one simple picture because we all know, right, one picture worth 1,000 words. So I will start with a picture, and this is the default picture every data warehouse trainer will use. Very simple and straightforward picture. Just I'm maximizing this one, right? I hope we all have heard about the word warehouse, right? How many of you, I am sure that everyone you would have heard the word about warehouse, right? What do you mean by warehouse? Can anyone tell me what comes in your mind when you heard the word warehouse? So let us make this class more interacting, right? It should not be like continuously I am speaking. Hmm? So what comes in your mind? Any place to store something? Okay. Anil Asgar, Shuk, volume, Ernest, manufacturing company as warehouse, right? A huge volume. Okay. Right. So in a nutshell, right, a warehouse is a place, right, where we store our products, raw material, warehouse for different purpose. Say if it is a raw material, say if I am getting for a lesser cost, then I will purchase and keep it in my warehouse. If the maintenance cost of warehouse is lesser than the margin that I am getting, right? In that way, I am going to benefit. Sometimes there would be scarcity in the market, but our business should be running. How we can do, right? We will purchase and store it in our warehouse. Similar thing applies in the data also, right? That is the reason since we are storing it as a data, we are calling as data warehouse. Now, why we are storing this one, let us see. So in the previous example, right, in the first half, we told that all our operational systems, right, there are a lot of operational systems are built to manage our day-to-day activities, right? Say, if you consider this as a database, just remember one thing, uh, some shapes, right? Let me show you. Whenever you want to represent a database, right, we will be using this shape. And this is the shape that represents database, right? And whenever you want to represent something files, right, this is the one, right? Whenever you want to represent a file, these are like standard things, right? And whenever you want to represent a table, just I'm giving a basics, we will use this one, right? A table. Now we are having different database. Those are going to use it to store the sales information, right? Or the HR, human resource information, or some flat files. Now what happened is it is decided, okay, boss, why to keep that data as it is? Let us try to pull some insights from this data, right? So initially what the IT teams has done is they started directly querying on these operational systems only, right? Say they want to know what is the total sales happened today, or what is the sales happened day to day sales. For all these kind of analytical things, they started using the operational systems. Now, what happened over a period of time? Both operational things and analytical things are impacted because in a single system, we have doubled the activities that we are doing. This is being used for the front end billing system and everything, right? This need process at the same time for analytical, right? We need a lot of CPU and the processing speed. So what it decided is, okay, boss, let us don't make the operational systems more loaded. Let us take a copy on every day at the end of the business hours. Say today business is completed. Let us take a copy what are all the data or information that is changed and keep it in a separate system, right? A separate database. And this database can be a single database with multiple tables, right? Or there can be multiple database also based on the business functionality, right? Or the requirements. Now, in this data warehouse, how we are going to store? Keeping the exact copy of the source system in the raw data format, right? So that means today 10 records are there. Tomorrow, when another 5 records are added, those 5 records are also being added, right? So this is called raw data, or we also term it as historical data, right? At the same time, we keep the summarized data. Now, when you say summarized data, say, I want to see daily sales and monthly sales regularly, right? As in when I come to office, I want to make sure what is my daily sales, right? So today I come to the office and I will run a query that sum up with the daily and I will get the output. Now, instead of daily doing this activity, what we will do is we will run the summary query once and we store those data in the summarized tables, right? Say 1st September, 1000, 2nd September, 2000, like that, a specific value, 3rd September, 2500. Like this day wise summarized value would be there. So whenever I want to pull the data, again, system don't need to summarize. We just pull the data from the summarized table, right? And there would be metadata. So when you say metadata means information about what kind of data you are storing, right? Why this is important is because the regulators say that, boss, if you are storing a customer information, that should be used only for the purpose that you are storing. So you are storing a customer information for account opening, it should be used only for account opening. You should not be using that for any other purpose. And how we can know that one? When the what kind of data, what kind of information we are storing, that one, right? Regulatories comes and says, okay, boss, show me your data lineage. That means how a customer record is flowing from operational systems to warehouse and further to the analytics. So for all these kind of information, we keep the metadata, right? So in a data warehouse, we are maintaining the history, we are maintaining the summarized data, and also we are maintaining the metadata, right? That captures the information stating that, boss, I'm storing a raw data for 10 years or 15 years, and also I am maintaining the summary data at a particular day level, month level, or country level, all these things, right? So on top of this warehouse, we are going to create data marts. Now, when you say data marts, right, they are also same as like data warehouses only. They are just a subset, right? Say if you have an organization, Walmart, right? Now we are going to create a data mart for data warehousing for Walmart. Now within the Walmart, you would be having different business lines, right? Groceries business line, electronics business line, automobile business line. Now they would be doing their business independently, right? So which means the data related to the grocery store really not required to the automobile industry or automobile business, correct? Will you agree with me? So instead of making sure that data is accessed to the required level, we further create data marts. And one basic classic example is like purchases data mart, sales data mart, inventory data mart. Okay. So at a nutshell, a data warehousing, what it is going to do is, let me show you that particular, and these articles, guys, I'm going to share with you because you need to read those articles and make familiar with yourself. A data warehouse is a central repository of information, right? That can be analyzed to make more informed decisions. Data flows into data warehousing from transactional systems, relational database, and other sources. So you would have seen this diagram, right? The data would be stored from the transactional systems, files, or relational or other source. And typically on a regular, business analyst, data engineers, data scientists, and decision makers access these through business intelligence tools, SQL client, and other analytical tools. Okay. Data and analyticals have become indispensable to business to stay competitive. Business users rely on reports, dashboard, and analytical tools to extract insights from their data, monitor, decision, right? Data warehouse powers these reports, dashboards, and analytical tools by storing data efficiently to minimize the input and output of data delivery, right? Whatever we discussed just in 2 paragraphs, and I want you guys to learn this one. If you see, this is the article from AWS, and I'm fine because I feel this is the best article that clearly puts what it means by data warehouse for you, right? And further, what are the benefits of using data warehouse? Informed decision making, right? As we discussed, right? Once we keep the data in the data warehousing, right? So we can quickly pull the reports required for the visualization. Say, I want to see the daily sales report, right? I don't need to put again, run lot of process to again summarize those data because I can go the summarize data and simply pull those results. Correct? Think of it. Consolidated from many sources. See, we would be having many sources and we are consolidating everything at one place. Historical data analysis. Yes, I'm maintaining the raw data. So whenever I got the new requirement, right? Say the leadership want to analyze, right, the sales for the automobile business lines, then they can simply go through this raw data and pull the data related to automobiles and analyze it. Data quality, consistency, and accuracy. And this would be maintained by the ETL guys, extract, transform, load. Right? They maintain the quality, consistency. And as a data modelers or data visualization, right? Like Kalpana has put a question, when a report is prepared by your team, right? How you are going to make sure that the quality is good enough, right? So that is where we leverage our skill in the Power BI. And if there is any quality issues in the data warehousing, we highlight them. Say on a particular day, due to whatever the reasons, the data loading is missed. That means we may miss 1 day sales data, and we can clearly see in our visualization tool and feedback that to our data engineers who manages the data loading. Correct? Separation of analytical process from transactional database, which improves performance of both the systems. Right? So we are separating it so that the operational systems work with the available capacity, full capacity, and similarly analytical systems work on their own dedicated capacity. Right? So is it clear the basic concept of data warehousing? What is the purpose of data warehousing and why we are doing all these things? Any questions or queries before we go to the next topic? Right? And another important point which I missed is, right, these operational systems, right, whatever we are discussing and it is used by the online processing, we simply call it as OLTP, online transactional processing. Okay. So considering they deal with the online things. Similarly, this warehousing part and everything, right? This is termed as OLAP. And sometimes they put these questions also. Online analytical processing. Okay, OLTP and OLAP. Okay. Any questions or queries till now with respect to basics of data warehousing? Actually, why we see we need to understand this in detail. I mean, we are going to further drill down on the data warehousing. But first of all, we need to understand what is my objective of having a data warehouse. Why in an IT systems this many databases are there or this many multiple hops are there. Okay. Now, how to design the data warehouse? That is the question. Okay, boss, fine. You said that I need to separate. I mean, I need to take a copy from the operational systems, keep it in the warehouse, and I need to use it. Now, tell me how to build this data warehouse. That is the question. Now, we have two great scientists, W.H. Inman and Rolf Kimball, right? So, what they suggested is they have proposed their solutions, two solutions. Let us see what are those two solutions. Now, what Kimball has proposed, let me show you the image, right? Now, if you see this image on the left side, right, just correlate this one with the previous image which we have seen. On the left side, we have the OLTP, right? Different data sources are there, and that is what we have seen here. Now, what Kimball has proposed is create a separate data mart for each and every business line. Say if you are getting a data source from HR department, create a data mart for HR department. And if you are getting a data from the manufacturing side, say you have a manufacturing plant, right? Day-to-day activities happening, new production lines or employee salaries and everything. Create a data mart for it. For finance, again, create another data mart, right? Now, people who are in the Scrum class, right? You know, right? Whenever we have a bigger requirement, we break them into the actionable items, right? Business outcomes, right? What suppose if you have a payment systems, you would be having different kind of thing: cash payment, online payment, card payment. Now we will break up into separate BOs and start building that solution, correct? Similarly, as a data engineer, what Kimball is saying is, boss, just start building data warehouse for each and every business lines, right? If you have a system that is storing all the sales data, create a data mart for the sales data. Similarly, if you have a database that is maintaining all the HR related information, employee salaries, right? And finance team is maintaining another database. So create a data mart. Now then integrate all those data marts into a data warehouse at enterprise level and use this centralized data warehouse to pull all your reporting requirements, whether it can be a Tableau, Power BI, or any SQL kind, whatever it may be. And this is an iterative process, right? And it's a cost effective, iterative, faster. And the benefit is that since we can already build one data mart, so end users can start working on that on top of it for pulling the reports and everything, right? So this is Kimball methodology. At the same time, Inmon has proposed another solution. Now let us see that one. I'm going showing you the diagram first so that immediately you can understand instead of I just showing you, I mean explaining you. Now what Inmon proposed is, but get all the source systems into the single data warehouse. Don't create a separate individual one. Let us work as like a big bang. Get all the departments sit on the same meeting room, right? And start analyzing, build a data warehouse, figure out how many tables are there, how many tables we need, how many database we want, right? For all the departments, right? Here it will go with the uh, process level. So if you see that area, various business process can be understood very easily. Say what it says that suppose if you have the employees, right? Employees are going to be there in HR department, finance department, manufacturing department. So create one table for employees. Similarly, if you'll be having the information collected for all your suppliers, different suppliers would be catering different business lines. Now, what it says is that no, don't create separate tables in their own data mart. Just create a central table. It will have all the supplier information, right? So what Kimball Inmon proposes is at the enterprise level, that means at the top level, organization top level, let us create a data warehouse, right? And then create a copy of data marts from it, right? And this copy means we have the concept called views in the PostgreSQL. You are going to see that one. And then each and every team going to use this data part for their reporting purpose, right? So when it comes to the data warehousing, all the department people should be come together and we need to understand how these each and every department are related businessly and make that in it technically, right? So I hope you got the basic understanding. Now can you tell me which particular approach is the best one? A question to all of you. Okay, you will be saying that Inmon is better. Okay. Any other? Sorry. Ucheni, you want to know, I mean, you want to explain why you are looking for Inmon? Okay. You are preferring Kimball. Okay. What is the reason for Kimball? Because in interview, guys, this is way how the things would be asking. One interview, what they do is they will put a question. Okay. And once they got the correct answer, then they will put some continuation questions to that one to understand, to know what is your level of understand on that particular concept, right? That is the purpose of interview. They want to know till what level of knowledge you have gained, right? So Chuk will be, do you let us know why you have selected Kimball? Just in one or two lines. Okay, Asgar gone for Inmon. Again, Asgar, to you also same query. Why you have selected Inmon? To avoid excessive mixing of data before going to, okay, because it starts with a corporate data model. Okay, yeah. Thanks for both of you, and both of you are right. I mean, both these two models are success. That is the reason after this many decades we are learning both of them. Okay, it's just about we need to understand what is our organizational requirements, right? And which one is the best fit for our organizations. Because in my organizations currently we are approaching this Inmon method. We are getting all the data source into single AWS cloud, right? And further there, many other data products are being developed, like the same like data marts or OLAPs. It's like the naming is changing, technology is changing, but the concept remains same. It's like old wine in the new bottle. I'm honestly saying. That's why for us also, I mean, we can quickly learn, easily understand, and managing those systems, right? So let us see a comparative of both of them, right? Because I just want to show you a couple of more important topics, right? So if you see here, introduced by Ralph Kimball and Bill Inmon, their names. This is very important. What is the approach? When you say Kimball's approach is bottom-up approach implementation, that means in the organization, we are building data mart for each and every department from the bottom, and then we are integrating going to the top. So that's why it is called bottom-up approach. Whereas Inmon is a top-down approach, right? We are asking everyone to come to the head office, right? Or main branch and started analyzing the things, and we started building the solution at the enterprise level, right? And once the solution is built, then we are going to give the copies. Same thing, data integration, where it comes. It focus on individual business areas, right? And it focus on the wide area, enterprise area, because at enterprise level, we are checking. Build time, it is efficient and takes less time, correct? Will you agree with me? Because we are going in an iterative process, right? We are picking a block, building that, and going to the next block. And complexity is less. It is a complex and consumes a lot of time, right? Because we need to understand each and every business line, right? And we need to pull experts from each and every business lines and understand how they are correlated. And we need experts who can do all these jobs, right? Cost, it has a iterative step and cost effective, right? Because we are dealing with one department, so okay, we can quickly done, and the cost is also iterative, right? Initial cost is huge and development cost is low. I want to keep this one, right? If you see initial cost is used, right? Because we need to get everyone, right, onto the same table, start analyzing them, right? And understand how it is integrated. But once we are finalized with our plan, with our architecture, right, then the development cost would be low. The reason is because we are not going to create multiple copies. If you have an employee table, right, in the inbound method, we are going to maintain only single employee table that is going to have the information related to the all employees from all the departments. Even if the employee switches from department to department, right, that record won't be duplicated, right? Skills required. It does not need such skill, but a generic team will do the job, right? It needs specialized skill to make work, right? Maintenance here, maintenance is difficult. So Kimball's method, right? If you see the maintenance is difficult because each and every department start creating their own data model, data marts, right? So which means there may be chances that same kind of tables would be created, right? So that means there would be multiple tables would be there, repeated information would be there. So it's very hard how to manage all those things. Whereas in the inbound methodology, the maintenance is easy because everything is central. Yes, we can have a single lineage page, right? How the data is being captured and everything. Data model, this is very important point, right? It prefers data to be denormalized model. It prefers data to be normalized model. Now, what it mean by normalize and denormalize? Guys, I want your next 15 minutes of time, right? Uh, Please be concentrating on the class. Why I'm saying is this normalize and denormalize is going to travel with us, right? Completely in our journey till we retire. Correct? Now, I'm just coming back to our previous diagram, right? Now, if you see in the operational systems, we have the data, right? There is a one interesting thing in operational systems. Now, if you go to the mall, right, say Walmart, and when they will ask you, okay, can you provide your customer ID? Can you provide your phone number? Suppose if you go to the bank, right, they will ask you, hey, can you provide your customer ID or can you provide your account number? And what the front associate do, they will search your account number, right, and we will get complete information about us, right? And it should be very faster. Will you agree with me? Suppose if I'm at the billing counter, right, they type our number, customer ID or a account number, immediately it should flash all our details, right? So that means operational systems are designed in a way that they pull small amounts of data but very faster, right? Please keep this in point. Whereas analytical systems, right, what they do, they summarize the data. So that means you would be having 100K records or 1 million records of the sales. Now, if you want to know what is the sales happen every day, obviously we need to read all the data. That means handle huge amount of data and pull the data back as a part of report. Right? So analytical requires lot of processing power, right? It need to handle huge amounts of data and get the outputs. Now, what it says, where is this one? A Kimball approach follows denormalized model, whereas Inmon prefers the normalized model. Now, to explain this one, I have a data sheet. Let me open that one. I'm going to share with you, right? I have a couple of details which I already created. Let me use this one to the book one, right? So I'm showing you a first table which is having the sales information, right? And if you see for each and every transaction, a detailed information is there. What is the product name? What is the customer name, their address, quantity, and all those things, right? This is called denormalized table, right? What it mean by denormalized table is within a single table, right? If you are capturing as much information as possible, right? Then we call it as denormalized. What is the benefit of this one is when you go to the shop and say, hey, this is my transaction ID, right? Then what the IT systems do on the back end is it will refer this sales table, quickly search it and get all the information in fraction of milliseconds, right? Because everything is sitting in one table, right? Suppose you are tasked to collect some items, right? And if all those items are sitting in one room, right? Then you can very quickly and fastly retrieve those items. Will you agree with me? Will all of you agree with me? Is it make sense, right? So whenever you want the data to be retrieved very faster, right? So we prefer to put in the denormalized form, right? Now there is a disadvantage of this one. What is that one? Now if you saw here for the Harish, every time he do the transaction, his entire address is being stored. That means the address information is repeated, right? Similarly, a person purchasing the laptop, right? It would be repeating. So if you see here the mobile, the value is repeating. And think this particular shop, let us consider Walmart, right? They have multiple branches are there. And within a single branch, the customers, they would be having visiting repeated customers, right? So if you take a grocery shop, every week we go to the grocery shop, we purchase something. So when every time he's collecting same information, right? That means there is a data redundancy, right? And if you want to store more data, you need to purchase more hard disk and the cost to the organization will increase. Will you agree that one? So what is the drawback in the denormalization form is that the data redundancy increases, right? So how it can be handled is, okay, with the help of normalization. Now, what is normalization means? It is as simple as it is. Logically split this information or this data into multiple tables. How it is? So if you know that you are getting a customers, maintain a customer table that stores all the customer information like his name, phone number, address, city, all those things, right? Similarly, products, right? Now, you know, right? You are going to sell some products means obviously we need to keep a detailed information about that product. So that means create another table stating that what are the detailed information about that product and give a unique reference number for that product, right? It is like in the school, right? When a new student joins, right? We will give him a roll number, right? Now, later on, whenever you want to refer that student, right? We will refer to the roll number, correct? To uniquely identify that student. Hey, can you please call Kalpana who has a roll number? Or can we simply ask, hey, who is roll number XYZ, right? So we as a data engineers, right? We means, I mean, whoever tasked with this role, right? What they are going to do is they are going to build this data warehouse in a way, right? In a normalized form by logically splitting the data. Now we would be having a customer table that stores all the customer information. We would be having a products table that stores all the product information. And whenever a new sales happens, right? Instead of writing this entire information, we simply refer the unique IDs that we provided to that products and customers. So whenever this sales table want more information about this product ID, it will refers to the product table and pull the additional information that is required. Right? It is like you have a key in one room, right? So if you need a more information about that additional detail, then you take that key, go to the room and get those details also, right? Say you are packing for a tour, right? So basic stuff like clothes and everything you will be taking from your living bedroom, right? And further, if you want to take the jewelry, you put those jewelries in some locker, right? So key would be present in the bedroom, right? Same thing. So we are going to store the keys here. And if you need more information about the product, then we will take this key and we will unlock the rest of the information, right? And this we do while retrieving the data, right? Is it clear now? And for our easy understanding, how we are notifying, I mean, how we are calling these things. So the sales table, which captures all the activities and events, we call it as a fact table. Facts. All the facts are captured. Facts means transactions, observations, right? And this fact table is supported with dimension tables. We call these customer profiling. I mean, which tables that stores more information as dimensions. And dimensions store information related to the person, people, organization, all those things, right? So for you more to get a more clarity, let me open one important article. And this article is again from the Power BI. And I will show you one statement here. See, this is the article from Power BI. Okay, see, you can see here. And what it says, star schema is a mature modeling approach widely used by relational data warehouses. It requires modelers to classify their model table either dimensions or facts, right? And why it is referring is, let me show you this diagram, right? So my sales table, which we arranged in the normalized form, right? It is going to store all the transactions and the reference keys of the product or customer. So it is called as fact A. And to support this one, we are going to have the dimension tables. And the shape, it looks like a star. We call it as a star schema, right? So what it means by, if you want to sell a product, right? You need to have a product key in the product table. Now, if I want to sell mobiles in the store, that means first I need to add these complete details about the mobile, and that I can use the product ID key, right? And also within the table, this column is called as a primary key. Now, when we say primary key, it is unique and not null, right? So if you take a simple student list, right? Whenever a new students join in a class, first thing we will give is we will give a roll number, right? And it is a sequential roll number. We don't duplicate and we don't miss giving a roll number to any student, correct? Same thing here also. So when you are capturing about the product information or customer information, so we give them a unique identifier. and we call them as primary key. Okay, so this primary key can be used in the fact table, right, to get the required information. So if we have the duplicates here, right, then when sales table have their product ID of one or customer ID of one, right, how can it knows that which is the correct customer it need to be picking? Okay, so the column that is used uniquely represent each and every record in the table is called primary key, right? And if this primary key is used as a reference in the fact table, then we call it as foreign key, right? We are going to learn more about in the constraints about this foreign key and about this primary key and foreign key. Okay, but for now, you got an understanding how the tables are organized in a normalized form. I will just take a small pause here, just in case if you have any doubts, please let me know. I am happy to repeat this again because this is one of the foundational block. We should have a clear understanding. Hey Hari, why we have this many tables in the database? Answer to that question is this normalization. Whatever the data that is present in our business, right? We are storing it in an organized way, in a normalized form. And we should be having these in our fingertips. See, fact table stores observations or events and can be sales orders, stock balance, exchange rates, temperatures. A fact table, oh, sorry. A fact table contains dimension key columns that relates to dimension tables, right? See, a fact table contains dimension key columns, right? That relates to the dimension tables. And how this relation is created, right? When we are creating the tables, we will be learning it. Okay. And numeric measure columns. When you say numeric measure columns, like what is the quantity, what is the product, what is the total cost, and when the transaction happened. The dimension key columns determines the dimensionality of the fact table, right? So like how many dimensions are there? If you have 4 dimensions, a dimensionality, 4 dimension table, right? Similarly, what about dimension table mention? Generally, dimension table contains a relatively small number of rows, or no, I think. Yeah, the dimension keys determine dimensionally via characteristic. Yeah. However, the date determines the granularity. Yeah. Oh, here it is. Dimension table describe business entities. The things you model. Entities can include products, people, places, and concepts, including time itself. The most consistent table you will find in a star schema is dimension table. Date dimension, right? So just giving a reference, right? In the dimension tables, right? We are having details about the products, entities, persons, people, all those things, right? And if this relation is just one level, we call it as a star schema because it looks like a star, right? Whatever we discussed, same thing. In a denormalized, you will have all the details clearly mentioned, repeating, whereas in the normalized, we will just keep the product key, a unique value of it. See, and how this relation happens, one to many, right? Because we told, right, in the dimension table, we should maintain a unique record, right? So if Hari is there, Harish details in the customer table should be one record only, so that whatever the products I purchase, so multiple entries there in the fact. But whenever Harish details are required, it will goes and pulls only one record from the dimension table. So one to many. In SQL world, star means many or all, right? A well-structured model design includes tables that are either dimension table or fact tables. And there are more about these things are there. Okay. I would request you to read this article because I'm going to share you with this article for further knowledge purpose. Okay. What else are there? Normalization, denormalization, star schema. We have seen snowflake schema, right? Now we discuss it, right? So when there is a one level of relation, then we call it as star schema, right? At the same time, yeah, right? Suppose if we have multiple relations, right? How it is possible? Now just take this one. In the customer address, right? I'm going to collect customer name, address, city, state, right? Now what happens? We all know, right? Within the state, within the city, we would be having hundreds of customers. That means in the customer address table, the city ID, city name, state name, they are going to be repeated multiple times. So how can we again further optimize this one? Simple, create a city table, right? With giving each and every city one key value and just refer that one. So instead of two columns here that are repeated, we would be having only one row and I'm going to use this one, right? So whenever there are multiple levels of dimensions are there, say fact table have order date, again order date would be going to products and product subcategory category, right? So a fact table is referring to dimension, but this dimension table, if it is further referring to other dimension table for granular information, then we call it as a snowflake. Okay. In a nutshell, if it is single level, it's a fact. Uh, sorry. If it is a single level, only just till dimension products, it is a star schema. But if dimension table further referring another dimension, then we call it as snowflake model. Okay. Is it clear till now? So today we covered introduction about data warehousing and we have seen OLTP, OLAP, and we have seen both the concepts of Inmon and Rolf Kimball, right? Two great scientists. And further we gone into the star and snowflake. And another important thing is we covered normalization and denormalization along with dimensions and fact tables, right? So I will pause today's class here.